All right, yay! Welcome to Into Steep. I'm Claire Ayoub here with the wonderful Mara Wilson.
Hello.
And we are so psyched to have tea and color with all of our smart girls. So let's see. So we all should have some art, which you can
art.
Yeah, which you can print out in our Google Hangout, and then color along and send us your pictures, okay? Because we'd love it.
Yeah, and you're probably better at coloring than I am.
Yeah, wait, me too. And we're going to be multitasking, so don't be too hard on us, you guys.
Yeah, but it's the spirit of the thing. It's all about your own interpretation.
It's magic. Okay, guys, I was so excited to have Mara on today because she's one of my favorite tea buddies in the world. I honestly, we had, I think, a 3-hour tea date.
Yeah, we did.
It was super fun.
We got like the full English tea with the cucumber sandwiches.
It was wonderful.
And cookies and macarons, and it was amazing.
And I did not make any of that today.
It's okay, though. It's okay. We've got tea, so we're good.
We have tea, and we have little mugs with our names on them.
Yeah, and these are special.
All right. Cheers, my
dear.
dear.
Special. Cheers.
All right. Okay, guys, and remember, you can keep sending your questions for us during the whole broadcast, and we will answer your questions a little bit later. So keep sending those in. We'll get to them to start, I'm going to ask you a few questions.
Okay. I gave her bangs.
Oh, you gave her bangs.
Well, she already has bangs.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Make sure that she has.
Do you want to describe our picture for our colorers at home?
Describe our picture?
Yeah, describe our picture, just in case they haven't printed it yet. This is by Eliza Kingsbury, who's a Brooklyn-based illustrator.
It is a girl, and she has, let's see, she has a lab coat on and goggles, and flying out around her, and all kinds of like cool flying things and dragonflies just swarming around her, flying around her, and she has this like awesome Wonder Woman pose.
Yeah, I feel like she's in control.
Oh, she's very in control. She controls the bugs.
She controls. It seems like a super villain.
Yeah, but she's using her powers for good.
No, it's a good superhero.
Yeah, she's using her powers for good. Yeah. I think, and she looks very cool and very confident.
I bet she's a girl who just loves playing in dirt. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like just there's like the kid at the beach who's like digging for like sand crabs.
Oh yeah,
That's fun. Being a kid was great.
That was fun. Yeah, playing in the garden, things like that.
And seeing earthworms before. Like I feel like now that I'm older, I get more scared of things. So like creepy crawlies versus when you're a kid, you're like, look at how many legs there are, and now we're like, look at how many legs.
I feel like now, like I remember climbing this tree that was in our backyard when I was little, and it was like this old like termite infested tree, and it was so old, and I remember climbing up there and just doing it on my own, and now like I look at that and I look at a tree and I'm like, I don't know.
I could soundness of this structure.
I could fall down. I could rip my pants. Yeah. Like I just want to climb a tree someday.
Me too.
Someday soon, I'm just gonna climb a tree.
Cartwheels. Like I feel like when you're a kid, there's nothing cooler than like seeing like a bunch of kids playing because you're like they have no fear.
Yeah.
And it's just like running around, you have mud all over your clothes.
Yeah, playing in the dirt. Yeah. Just getting dirty.
I love it.
It's awesome.
All right. I love it. All right, so let's get started with our coloring. So Mara, now. You are one of my favorite storytellers in New York City.
Oh, thank you.
I mean that sincerely. Mara's an incredible storyteller, and she has a show called What Are You Afraid Of? Would you like to explain to them what that show is?
Well, What Are You Afraid Of is a show about fears and phobias and anxieties and dealing with them and laughing at them and getting over them. Because I've always been a very nervous person. I've always been scared of a lot of things and worried about a lot of things. So I thought that it might help to talk to other people about it and, to bring this out into the open. Yeah. I was thinking one day a few years ago, like, man, I'm so worried about so many things. I could do a whole show on all these things I'm afraid of. Actually. And so then I did. And the thing is, I mean, obviously this isn't the great thing, but the great thing is that a lot of other people are afraid of a lot of other things, and so they will come out and they will talk about their fears.
Right. So everyone has a story about their own fear.
Yeah, and it's funny too because a lot of things that I thought that nobody else was afraid of, I am afraid of too, or just like things, somebody else is afraid of something that I'm afraid of, and
has fear that they've talked about ever made you realize that you're afraid of that thing?
Yeah, I think so. There was somebody was talking about falling and like falling down subway stairs, and that's actually something that scares me a lot.
I get scared now that we're in New York right now, you guys, and it is snowy and it is cold and it is slippery as anything.
Yeah, it's very, and that scares me a lot. Yeah. So that I mean, I grew
We
up.
sound like a bunch of old ladies. We're like, watch out.
Yeah, and but it's it's kind of good to know that these things, or it's nice because people will say they will actually say like, this is what I'm afraid of, and you're like, oh, you put that so clearly.
Yeah, I feel like also saying it. I feel like fear comes sometimes with like shame or like different things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
And saying it out loud, I think.
Yeah.
You're like, huh, every time you get that little
Alarm. We needed
days
that. Yeah, those were not good days.
No.
So we needed that inside of ourselves to keep us going, to make sure that we weren't going to get eaten.
And now we're just scared our phones are gonna die.
Yeah, exactly. And then we get these sort of false alarms. It's like one of those, like, I don't know if you've ever lived in a fire alarm where the building where the fire alarm wouldn't stop going off. Yeah, it's kind of like that. Yeah. That is what fear is in our body. It is a false alarm. So what I do is I open the show talking about somebody's fears, usually mine. Although last month we talked about my friend's fear of mall Santas. She's really afraid of mall Santas.
I don't know what's under that Santa.
Well, one was like sick on her when she was a little girl, and so ever since
he
then,
threw up?
Yeah, he threw up on her.
Oh, what a gift!
Yeah, and ever since then she's been a little bit afraid of them,
I get that.
Yeah.
Does she remember? Does she remember like what actually like the moment?
Yeah, she does, and she told the story, and I took like a video of her talking about it, and then we talked to people who have been professional Santas, and we talked about the sort of code of conduct, and she said that learning about them has actually helped her a lot, because then what we do is we bring in an expert on that subject.
Yes, that's what I love about your show.
Yeah, and we talk to them, and we get them to address it. We had like a few months ago, I talked to Phil Plait, who's the bad astronomer, about how
the bad astronomer.
That's what he does. He's he talks about bad astronomy, which is like incorrect assumptions about astronomy.
I love
and such.
that.
And he wrote a book called Death by Black Hole, which is all about things people are afraid of in space. Because I used to be really afraid of
black
holes and just like comets and meteors and all these things. I used to be so afraid of asteroids coming, and
I think it was a lot of watching Armageddon when we were growing up.
Yeah, even I was too scared to see Armageddon.
Really?
But the commercials alone scared me.
Like,
the commercials alone,
rock.
yeah.
And they're 30 seconds long.
Oh, yeah, commercials. I feel like they were a lot longer in back in our day.
Back in our day.
So we talked to him about like what do we do if meteors heading our way? What do we do with this, with that? And he helped us through it, and it's things like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, we'll talk about fears, and then we will address them.
Right. Well, my question for you, so one of the biggest fears people have is public speaking.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel when you're on stage?
Ideally, if it's going well, it's sort of like
True.
it's like you're flirting with a crush and it's going well.
I like that.
Just like I feel like we have those moments. We have those I have that one moment that I can think of, in high school where I actually did it well, and
I still don't know how to flirt.
Yeah, well, I had that. Most of the time it was like that, but there was that one time where I made somebody laugh. The one time. And you remember that feeling, and that is what it feels like when you're on stage and it's going well.
I like that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
How do you handle it if it doesn't go well? Or because a lot of times you get different crowds. Sometimes it's just you're trying out new material. How do you get through that?
You kind of just have to go with it, and it's sort of, you have to pick up what the audience is, saying. And sometimes you can joke it off. Sometimes you can say, you can say something, or sometimes if a performer says something, if the other performer says something that's kind of, a little off, or if you're hosting a show, you could always step out and be like, oh, well, all right, that's not what I was expecting, things like that.
Sure.
So, oops, excuse me, the tea is coming to me.
No worries.
And
we're caffeinated, you guys.
Yeah, we are. And so I feel like you can take a step back. You can do that. You can just laugh it off, but you try to remember that you are on good terms with the audience.
Yeah.
They came here to see you.
Yeah.
And I guess that's easier there than as opposed to doing a stand-up show or something like that. But there also you just have to realize okay, this is my audience. This is not my audience. And I've done shows where I just didn't do well. And once I got off stage, I was like, oh, these people are just not my audience.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's important too, because a lot of it, and it's so hard as a performer. You're like, well, you want to please the audience, like especially as a comedian, like you want to make them laugh. But on the flip side, sometimes you just have to be like, well, it's out of my control.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of it's just like one more rep in of just feeling.
It's and I've done shows before where it was just where I thought like, okay, I just don't belong here, and I just wanted to get off. I think you just take some time, you breathe, you remember it'll be over soon, and you just keep going with it, and then and then you get off stage and you go talk to your friends, and they're like, oh, those people don't deserve you. You're too good for them.
Friends are very important.
Friends are very important.
And
that's what I did actually. Yeah. Like the one time that I bombed really badly, I went to a friend's show after that, and I was just welcomed with open arms, and it felt so good.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What is the biggest risk you've ever taken on stage? Like with a story or something that like...
Oh, let's see. Honestly, like talking about my fears is something that's pretty big.
I think that's huge because mostly people are like, this crazy thing happened to me, and you're like, this is something that shakes me to the core.
I mean, that's the thing that I've talked about stuff, and I've talked about some things that I'm still like not okay with. I've done a little bit of that. Just kind of putting myself. And also, I think just hosting the show, too. I remember I tried to host a show a few years ago, just like a one-time thing, and I didn't know how to do it. And I was so worried, and I was so scared. And then I was like, no, you know what? I can do this. I can host a show. You just have to keep trying. Thank you.
I tend to compliment my guests a lot. I bring on people I love.
So that's the thing. Like at the time, I thought, oh, there's no way that I can do this. There's no way that I will ever be able to do this. And you really, like never say never is a platitude. It's a cheesy thing people say a lot, but it's very true.
Hey, cheesy truth.
Yes, exactly. Cheesy truth.
Cheese is great. Be cheesy, guys.
Yeah, no, it is true. Like I said, oh, I'll never be able to do this, and so now there are things that I've said I will never be able to do.
Right.
And then I like just the other day I was thinking, oh, I'll never be able to be a director, and then I thought about it and I was like, no, I bet I could.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe in a different way than I thought about in the past, maybe not doing what I had wanted to do, but maybe it's not my natural skill set.
Yeah, but it's also things you're learning. It's like the first time you ever got on stage to tell a story, or the first time you started acting. You're like, you learn.
And you get a feel for it. Like I've definitely gotten a feel for it in the past, over the past year. And there's a difference also between like when you're doing it for a podcast, when you're doing it on stage, and your audience, and these things, and and you do need to feel it out, and you do need to interact with the audience.
Love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Well, the other cool news I want to talk about, I don't know if you guys are aware, Mara has a book coming out.
In about a year, yes. I'm still working on it.
Hey, raise your hand if you have a book coming out. I love it.
Yeah.
So this K for Kid.
K for Kid,
right? Will you explain? Because I saw the news and I'm so excited.
Thank you. It's through Penguin. It's I'm super excited about it too. Where I'm working on it now, and it's called K for Kid because it's stories about being a little young and a little out of place. And when I was a child, I was on a film set, and I believe it was, or no, I think it was a TV show. I think it was Melrose Place.
Holy cow!
I was on Melrose Place. Yeah,
it was Mara's place.
Yeah, it was. It was. Oh, I always wanted to swim in the pool that they dug into the set. It was a very ridiculous show.
They had a pool in the set.
They had a pool in the set. Yeah, they dug it in.
Were you not allowed to swim in it?
No, because it was, technically the set, and you weren't allowed to, like, mess it up, but I always wanted to.
I feel like as a kid that's so counterintuitive.
Oh,
it
was.
Cool.
Yeah, it was. I just wanted to jump in the whole time.
Absolutely.
So there were, but it was a lot of fun. But I remember I was the only child on the set because it was about, a bunch of 20 and 30-something-year-old adults,
like Melrose Place for Kids.
Yeah. Melrose Place Junior. Oh, that would be horrible.
That would be terrifying.
Yeah, that would not be
Don't
good.
do that, TV
Don't do that, guys.
Don't do that.
Not do that.
Don't. Forget this happened. Move on.
So what I did is I was looking at the call sheet, and I was the only kid on set.
Yeah.
And so right next to my name, it said Mara Wilson, and then parentheses K. And I was like, oh, okay, what's that about? And I took it to my mom, and she laughed, and she said K for Kid. They needed to differentiate me from the rest of the
it.
cast. They needed to say, you
Like,
know,
don't hit on this person.
like this person is, you know, this person is different.
Child.
This person is, yeah, this is a child, and this is why they are, you know, not working long hours, and this is why.
Because how many hours? Were you limited as a kid to how many hours
you
could be
are?
on set,
And
right?
it's sort of, it becomes like a rite of passage in a way, because like you can only work for like 7 hours a day, and then you can work for 8 hours a day, and then, you know, you hit like age 9 and you can work for either 8 or 9 hours a day. I forget how many it is. It's like it's, you know, a little bit at a time.
Increments. And then do you have to go to school and stuff? Do you have to make sure you're
you go on, you have to do 3 hours of schoolwork a day, which
3 hours
really, really does not sound like a lot.
It's like recess, lunch, and art.
Yeah, it's, well, the thing, and one thing that they end up doing a lot, and this is a bit controversial, is called banking.
Ooh.
So if you are on set one day and you don't have a lot of shots to do, you will do a lot of school, and then the next day it rolls over. Yeah.
Oh shoot! So you could have like 1 day of school. I want to be a child actor.
Well, I mean, the thing is too that like some of the best teachers that I ever had, I had on sets because it was one-on-one.
Do you remember any specific teachers that really stood out to you?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. I had one, Richard Wickland. He was great. He really got to know me really well, and he was on a couple different movies with me, and he knew I was a perfectionist, and he knew the way that I learned, and so we'd like have debates, and we would talk about the things that I wanted to talk about. We would do the kinds of science experiments I wanted to do, and I was so spoiled with him. And then I had another one because he couldn't come with us when I was going to be filming in Toronto, and so we got I was 11 or 12, and we got this woman named Lori Ferrens, who was also wonderful.
It's a nice teacher name.
It was,
Lori,
and she was
Ferrens.
Yeah, she was so nice, and she was very, very helpful and taught me so many things. And after I finished filming on that set, I actually went home and I would like call her all the time, and she would just and she would give me advice, and she'd be really helpful. We recently met up when I was in Toronto with Night Vale. And we went out to lunch, and we had this great time. We went to the bookstore, and we used to I remember she says we used to count as PE going to the mall and going to the bookstore. It was walking.
You're like, oh, this paperback is so heavy.
Yeah, we used to count that.
Get your heart racing by reading.
By power walking, yeah.
Hey, the last Harry Potter would make me sweat. I was
I mean, and Harry Potter was big at the time, so
absolutely.
we would count that there. So that was, you know, and I learned a lot from them. They were really great. Yeah.
So did you ever have a favorite topic to study as a kid? Because I feel like you're so smart, and what I love about your writing and your Twitter and everything is just you play to the top of your intelligence at all times. Were you always a super curious kid?
I was. I think that I could get discouraged pretty easily when I was little. I've always been a perfectionist, and that's not the best thing to be, but
it's who you are.
It is who I am, but I always loved listening in on other people's conversations. I loved learning about people.
Yes.
You know,
you're a people watcher?
Oh yeah, totally. I always was, and listening in. I was so nosy, listening in on everybody's conversations all the time and imitating the way that they talked, and that was my favorite thing. I loved reading. I've always loved reading. I started reading when I was, I think, about 4, and just
Awesome.
Just like continue
you were
from
smart
there.
too.
Well, thank you. My brother started learning when he was learned to read when he was 2, though. So
does he remind you a lot? He's like, yeah, I was 2.
No, well, he says it's because our oldest brother was learning. He was 2.
That's like me. I learned to read because I have 2 older siblings, and
that's what happened. He had a brother who was 2 years older, and my oldest brother was learning how to read, and he just picked it up. You know, and that's so we all helped each other learn.
Cool.
So there were a lot of things that I was super interested in. I did love nature. I did.
Were you big out? Because you're from California.
Yeah, we were like an outdoorsy family. Yeah. We would go camping a lot,
awesome.
And I really loved that. That was something, you know, that was like the ideal vacation for me. Was going camping. I loved I loved a lot of old timey books. Like I was super into history. I was into like the Betsy Tacy books. And
Ooh, I don't know the Betsy Tacy books.
You would love them.
Oh, I
would
would.
love them.
Okay.
It's about these like
I'm writing this on my coloring.
best girlfriends.
Betsy Tacy?
Betsy Tacy. Tacy.
Tacy. Take it down, smart girls.
And those were books that I loved growing up. And I mean, I also read like Little House on the Prairie and Mrs. Piggle-Wiggle and stuff like that. So
did you read the Boxcar Children?
No,
I like the Boxcar Children.
My nephew's super into them now.
The story's really sad when you think about it.
Yeah, it is.
It's really heartbreaking. You're like, they're having adventures.
Yeah.
You're left in a boxcar.
Yeah, it's so sad. it's really sad the things that we get away with.
Yeah, it's true. I know, we're like, hey kids.
Like I was thinking about that the other day, like how like existential is Charlotte's Web? You know, it's dealing with like questions of life, and it's so sad.
And Charlotte, I don't want to say goodbye.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Wilbur, and he's a pig.
Yeah,
hey.
It's so sad.
Take on
it's
a
so
farm.
sad. But it was that's what made it beautiful.
Hey, it's life. It's life.
Yeah.
You know.
So those were things I was always curious, and my family, I feel like we were always kind of teaching each other. We were always learning each other, and we always played actually game where anybody would say something and somebody else would go, actually no, I don't know if that's true.
Love it.
You know,
so smart people.
Yeah, and it was fun. I mean, like I felt like my parents were the kind of people that I could ask anything and they'd know. You know,
that's cool.
And I just remember that, like one of my brothers saying, like, Mom, where does "wherefore art thou Juliet" mean? And we're just like on vacation out of the blue, and she'd be like, well, or "wherefore art thou Romeo?"
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, well, that actually means why are you? And she's saying it because of this and this and this and this. And you know, my mom just like giving the context.
An encyclopedia.
Yeah, like not that like Mom read Romeo and Juliet in high school, but just that our parents I felt like our parents knew everything.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Shall we check in with our coloring?
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Yeah.
I know I get distracted.
Yeah, I did too.
Okay, so far I've been purpling it up. I have a purple lab coat.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. I was keeping it traditional and keeping it white, but now I kind of want to.
Girl, live your life.
Yeah. Her jeans and her goggles kind of match.
I like
almost.
that.
Yeah.
Her magic goggles.
I think I'm gonna give her a purple sweater though.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. All right, cool. Well, you know what we're going to do? I'm going to ask some super silly rapid fire questions, and then we're going to get to our listener questions.
Okay.
So, and you guys, keep sending in our questions. If you want to do anything, you can do Twitter and do #SGIntoSteep. All right. Here's some super silly rapid fires, okay? So we can answer as fast, which probably means we're going to talk about it anyway. Okay.
Knowing the two of us, yes.
We're going to talk forever.
Yeah.
All right. What's your favorite word?
I really like the word mere mortals,
mortals.
Things like that.
Oh, it's just such a
dash. I also like anthropomorphic. That's a fun word too. Mere is great though. It's mere mortals.
Mere mortals. I love it. Play-Doh or GAC?
Oh, Play-Doh. You can make anything out of Play-Doh.
What color?
I liked mixing the colors together.
Then it makes it brown.
Yeah, well that does eventually. But I would mix yellow and blue and I'd be like, look, it's green.
Oh, I love it.
That was always fun.
I wish we knew each other as kids.
Yeah, we would have gotten along.
We would have gotten along very well. Cake or pudding?
Cake, I think. That's a controversial thing. My sister. It's controversial because I was talking to my sister. I was talking to my sister about this, and she hates cake. She says the cake. She calls cake sweet bread, sponge bread.
No.
Yeah, her birthday she wants tortilla chips instead of cake.
Oh. Do you make like a special like birthday nacho?
I always eat tortilla chips on her birthday in honor of her. Yes.
That's sweet.
Yeah, I do. Even when we're not celebrating it together, I do that in her honor.
She's never liked cake?
I think she did when she was little, but never the way I did. I was like cake.
I know.
Cake connoisseur. Like I will be like, no, I need a special.
German chocolate cake.
Well, I will get like I will judge a cake. I'll be like, I don't know about the crumb on this one.
And the cakes, they're going, what did I do?
Yeah, I'm like, sorry, I don't like you. I'm a cake snob now.
Yeah, hey, you're a cake. I like connoisseur.
Cake connoisseur, yeah.
I love it. Okay, Mara, if you could live in any movie, what would it be?
Oh, I think a Pixar movie would be pretty cool.
Ooh, which one?
I don't know.
I like the Pixar universe.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, all the Pixar universes, not the Cars one because that would be creepy.
I love the tire tracks in the sky. Did you ever notice that? The clouds were car tire tracks.
What?
Yeah, that was one of my favorite things.
I
babysat a wonderful little girl who would watch cars, and all the tire tracks, or the clouds were tire tracks.
Yeah.
It was super cool.
Well, there is that conspiracy theory that Pixar movies all, like, match up.
Right, and same thing with Disney, or is it just Pixar?
Maybe it's Disney. I think it might be Pixar.
Yeah.
But,
I think it's so cool.
Yeah, the Up world was pretty cool.
Up was good.
Up was good.
I liked it. I just love that dog.
Yeah.
My friend said I was that dog.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's a compliment.
She kind of is. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. I'll take it as a compliment.
Yeah.
Hey, you hear that? No, I'm just kidding. All right, cool. Okay, this is one of my favorites. Mara, you're stuck on a desert island, and you have the choice of bringing either a distant childhood acquaintance who you don't know very well, or a block of cheese. Which do you choose?
I think I choose the acquaintance because, like, while I like cheese, I don't really love hard cheeses. So a block wouldn't be the best.
Right.
You know, I like if it were ricotta or
like
brie or camembert.
But nice brie.
Or nice brie, or even mozzarella, like, we'd have to talk. But, you know, I think I'd probably choose the distant acquaintance, too, because there are a lot of people, like, I think, like, you know, whatever happened to Leah, who moved away in first grade, you know, and whatever happened to these people, and I wonder about them a lot. And I think also, you know, then you could work together and maybe, like, make your own cheese on an island.
Oh, cheese on an island.
Cheese on an island.
You guys could brand it.
Yeah, maybe. Like, I don't know if there'd be any animals we could milk, but there's got to be something. Yeah,
you're like, we don't want to eat you, we just want to milk you.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. All right. You're writing in your journal when your pen turns into a live snake. You jump back, and the snake says, "Wait, don't go. I am so lonely. Stay or flee."
I would stay.
Stay. You stay with that snake?
It would also depend on the tone of voice he said it, or she said it, you know, or genderless snake said it, like, you know. If I felt it was, like, a ruse, I would be like, okay, I'm not sure about this. But I think I would generally stay. I have a thing for, like, you know, animals in need, so.
Animal, really?
Yeah. I guess
Are you a rescuer?
I would say I have 2 cats that I rescued.
Cute cats.
Yeah, I
What
do
are their
have 2
names?
cats. Milo and Theo.
That's cute.
Yeah, they're both rescues. So yeah, I would probably stay.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Awesome. Okay, final question. What would you do if a unicorn walked by you on the street?
I would probably do a double take. I would probably be like, "What is that, a unicorn?" And I would admire it, and I would probably want to go up and ask it questions, but I feel like it wouldn't have time for me.
Yeah, I feel like unicorns. I feel like they exist. I feel like unicorns. Guys,
in a way, they do. In a way, in our minds.
Did you ever watch The Last Unicorn?
No, I didn't. But I read Bruce Coville's Unicorn Chronicles.
Oh,
so
nice.
that was a thing.
I like it. So you would talk to the unicorn.
Yeah.
I like it. I feel like they would be busy people.
Yeah, they would be like, you know, they'd be on their own, and I would like look it in the eye and get really shy.
Really?
I think that's what I would do.
Be shy. I'd be like, "Hey, it's a unicorn."
I would be like, may I? Like every like book or something I've read about unicorns, like they're good, but they're not friendly.
Right.
You know, they're not stop to chat kind of people. They're sort of like, I'm a unicorn.
Yeah.
Yes, you know, they're not snobby, but they're definitely above you.
I feel like they know that they're a super magical being.
Oh yeah,
and it's like a heavy burden to have.
It is. They unicorn angst. Unicorn angst is a thing.
Unicorn angst. I'm just tired of living forever.
That's our new improv group.
Unicorn angst.
Unicorn angst.
We'll see you on stage. Can we have a suggestion? We don't need it. We're living forever, and we're mad. I love it. Hey, we're going to perform tomorrow. It's going to be great. All right, okay. We have some awesome questions. You guys submitted some amazing questions.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. We actually have one that just came in from Andy. Mara, do you have any advice for young adults struggling to be an adult, whatever that is? Great question, Andy.
I think being an adult means taking the step between nobody is going to do this.
Yeah.
And nobody is going to do this, so I have to. You know, there's a mess on the floor. Someone should clean that up. Oh wait, I'm gonna have to.
That person.
I'm gonna have to. So it's sort of about realizing that I think that nobody else is going to do those things, and you know, and you have to do that. You have to take care of yourself, and I think it's also one thing, and this works for me because I worked with children for a long time, but I feel like you kind of treat yourself the way you treat a child. If you're good with kids or like you're good with animals, you know, you don't tell them like you're bad and you're wrong. Just say like, okay, you made a mistake. You know, it's okay. What do we do with mistakes? We learn from them and we move on.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I think you have to do. You have to treat yourself like a child.
True. I feel like it's also, that positive, because I feel like, I don't know about you. And I think to myself, I'm so negative.
Yeah,
like,
I can't.
Oh, you messed up. Oh, this is never gonna work.
Yeah, very critical.
And if you talk to yourself like a kid,
yeah,
or just saying, that's okay.
Like I would
Things
never talk
happen.
to my nephew like that. I wouldn't even talk to my cat like that.
No.
And my cats can be pains. You know, like I would be. That's not the way. That's just not helpful.
No.
It's not helpful to anybody.
It's not healthy for yourself.
And it's not. So I think that's that I think is something to keep in mind is. And don't, and the same way with you would with a child, you can't be too strict, you can't be too lenient,
yes.
You need, structure and guidance the way that you do with a kid.
I like that. I like that. All right.
I'm making this caterpillar orange.
Oh my gosh, I like that.
Yeah.
All right. We have a question from Twitter. This is from Katie Barsati at Not That Katie. But which Katie are you?
Yeah, which Katie?
I know this Katie, and she's wonderful. Okay. She says, "Hi, Mara and Claire. What is something that you love about yourself?"
Oh, that's a good question.
That's a great question.
Yeah,
Thank you, Katie.
I like that question. Let's see. Superficially, I like my voice.
Ooh, you have a great voice.
Thank you.
I can hear you. If I hear you down the hall, I'm like, that is Mara.
Yeah, I've always liked my voice. I mean, my voice was obviously different when I was a kid,
sure.
But
yeah,
that's the thing. Like voices change regardless of gender, and but I like it. It's deep. Other things about me, I like that I try to learn from my mistakes. I like that I'm communicative. I like that I care about animals and children. I like that I'm funny.
It's true. I have a very loud laugh.
Yeah.
And I used to be very self-aware and anxious
about it. I would laugh too.
And so when I was growing up, and people would be like, shush, or whatever, and I would be like very aware, and then I'd go into comedy, and everyone's like, we love your laugh.
Yeah, it's so much fun to be in a show when you have a great laugh.
A great laugher.
People are always telling me after comedy shows, they're like, we heard you, Mara.
Yeah, and you're like, you're welcome.
Yeah, and they're happy about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I like my laugh. I don't know. I kind of wear my heart on my sleeve, and I like that. I'm not afraid to be
Hufflepuff style.
Hufflepuff. I love you. Hufflepuff. Oh God, I would be a Helga Hufflepuff. I like that I do it. I used to be aware, feel bad about it, but I like that I'm an emotional person because I love my friends and loving person. I like that. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Katie. All right, we have another one from. Ooh, I like this from Dory Medlin at Dorky Medlin on Twitter.
That's cute.
I know, right? So cute. What was your best or worst experience with a teacher?
Oh, let's see. Best experience would probably be. It might have been one of the two teachers that I talked about earlier. Another great teacher that I had was Mrs. Volman, who is now my Facebook friend.
I love having teachers as Facebook friends.
She's so funny, and it's so nice to see that she she's like an actual person now. And I sent her, I'll send her my writing, and she will she'll be great with that.
Love that.
I had some teachers. I had one teacher in college who. We had a class called Writing the Essay, and it was just universally loathed. And he was very, negative about the things that I wrote, and he always, he was just kind of he would be like, it's not a thesis, you're exploring an idea. And so then I put an idea there, and he'd be like, well, I don't know if that's really an idea. And he was very particular, and he was saying, we're trying to break you from the mind-numbing 5-paragraph essay. But he didn't really teach us.
But I feel broken.
Yeah, but he didn't know. Yeah, but he didn't know what to teach us instead. And he then eventually a few years ago, I looked him up online and I found an essay he'd written, and I didn't think it was very good. But now I have the book of essays coming out, and he doesn't. So
you're K for kid, A for awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, dude, you kept telling me, he just read these things. I would pour my heart out into them, and he would, and then he'd just be like, no, I don't get it. What's your idea?
Yeah, I feel like my favorite writing teachers were people who were so open about what they wanted to do, where they're write about something. My favorite English teacher, he basically had us cut out the fluff of a piece, write what we wanted, and that was so good because a lot of times I would use flowery language, and I was like synonym, and then he just was cut out the fluff, but write what you like, and that for me I was like, get to the heart of it instead of the flowery language.
That's something
stuck
I
with
learned
me.
in playwriting. My teacher,
Yes.
Jenny Mahoney, was really good with that because in playwriting you have to be economical.
Mhm.
You have to cut that down, and you literally have to be economical because you can't afford
Next when you come to be right.
Yeah, and it's all about you listen and you think about the rhythm of it, and it's
Yeah.
all about cutting it down. And she was great with that. You know, she said just cut down a very, cut out a very, cut out a so.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people think that writing more flowery stuff is writing better, and I kind of got the feeling that's actually what that essay teacher thought. And I wasn't about that. I was like, nope, I'm gonna keep it simple. Like we had to do a thing. We had to do this thing where we had to say we had to make the sentence the woman walked down the street interesting. And other people said, like, the woman walked down the street, you know, like the scintillating example of femininity sauntered down the lane. And I said, I think I wrote, like, the woman walked down the street naked. Or the woman walked down the street in her underwear, or something like that.
You'd be like, what?
Yeah,
And
you'd be like, that's interesting. That's like, what? That's weird.
Love
You
it.
know, why would somebody do that?
The
And
world is
yeah,
on its head.
yeah, and that's what I thought was interesting,
I like
but
that.
he did not.
I like that.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone's different. Everyone's
Yeah.
different. All right, let me find you another question. Let's do another one from Not That Katie. She said, okay, I have a burning curiosity and I can't stop at one question. What's a skill you've always wanted to learn?
Let's see. I want to learn sign language.
Oh,
I've always wanted to learn
cool.
sign language.
Yeah.
I just read Cambry Cruise's book, Burn Down the Ground, which
Incredible.
is an excellent book.
I've read excerpts. I want to read the whole thing.
And she's the nicest person in the world.
Oh.
Cambry is wonderful.
She's
She's
based
been on
in
my
New York,
show.
right?
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
been on my show. She just opened up a place called QED.
Awesome.
But that book was so well written, and now I want to learn sign language.
Yeah.
I think I want to learn American Sign Language. It's so interesting. And it's a really beautiful language,
Very
I
cool.
think, and that's something I want to do. I'm not very good with my hands, so I worry I wouldn't be very quick with it.
I feel like you learn, though.
But yeah.
At worst, you offend somebody.
Yeah, I'd also like to learn to cook because I'm not a very good cook.
Are you a baker?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
oh yeah, I'm totally a
I
baker.
feel like it's chemistry versus like science.
Yeah,
or
chemistry
biology.
versus it's sort of like that.
Yeah.
I've heard it's like there's one's a science and one's an art.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm a scientist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, you're great at it.
Well, thank you.
I love it. Okay, let's do one from Instagram.
Mhm.
Okay. Kristen at the punctuated polka dot. Cute name.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cute.
That is really cute.
My question is, what are you ladies reading lately?
Oh,
Anything good?
Yeah, I've been reading this book called The Boys of My Youth by Joanne Beard.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
yeah, it is wonderful. It is like her voice is just
It's so strong.
It's so strong and it's so detailed
Mhm.
and it's so beautiful. Right now, I've been reading a lot of books by women writers writing about their youth and their childhoods, and so like on my
As in preparation for K for Kid.
yeah. So like on my shelf right now, it's like Joan Didion and it's Zadie Smith and it's like all of these and the empathy exams and Amy Poehler's book.
That's what I'm reading.
That's on my list too.
It's so good.
Yeah,
It's
I got it
just-
for Christmas.
Oh,
yeah.
gotta get the hardcover.
Yeah.
My best friend got it for me, and it has been the nicest thing.
Yeah.
I just read it, and I read a chapter before bed. I'm like, thank you, Amy.
Yeah, no, that's on my list. That's probably what I'm gonna read next.
Yeah. Guys, this isn't branded.
It's just true. It's just true.
true.
It actually is. So
and it's so honest. She's just herself, which is so refreshing to read.
Yeah.
It's
like I'm trying to think if there's anything else I've been reading. I miss reading plays. I should read more plays.
Ooh,
I used to read a lot more plays, but
That's nice.
I don't. Yeah.
I just read a book called Napoleon's Hemorrhoids.
Wow.
I know. It's a book. I like history, and it's a book about all little things in history that happened by chance. Things that we know now, but they all happened by chance. It's very bizarre.
That sounds amazing.
I know, the name is hilarious.
Yeah.
I totally picked it for the name because it made me laugh very hard.
My friend gave me a book once called Madame Bovary's Ovaries, which is
it.
about like science and literature. That sounds up my alley.
I honestly thought of you.
There's one book I saw
when I was reading Napoleon's Hemorrhoids.
There's one book I saw while I was traveling where it was about like historical misconceptions.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get it, but it was at a museum store, so it was way too But I was like, look this up later because this seems, I also just read Brooke Shields' book about her mother because I think it's really interesting to read stuff that other child actors have gone through. Yeah, like I also have Neil Patrick Harris's book too.
I really want to read his book.
And Will Wheaton's book I read not too long ago. And there's a lot of, it's just interesting to me to see like how we all turned out, like, and how we dealt with it. Yeah, and how we dealt with it. So that's something. That's something that's interesting.
That's the thing for you where everyone's like, oh, for Matilda, and you're like, also I'm a human being.
Yeah, and it can be hard, but I've learned to appreciate it.
People love you.
Is there another question?
Oh, right, we have another question. Ooh, hi from Ireland. Do you have certain habits or practices that feed your soul? Oh, and it's Niam? Is that how I say your name? Sorry, I don't know how to say your name. Niam?
That's a really pretty name.
It's a beautiful name.
It looks really nice written down.
It does. It looks like it would be beautiful in cursive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello in Ireland. So let's see. So any certain habits or practices that feed your soul.
Yeah.
Are you a poet?
That's really playing with my nephew does. My nephew and my niece. He's 6, and I have a baby niece too.
I love that.
So being with it's so much fun just to see them growing, and I love reading to them. Like when my nephew was little, when my nephew was little and now that my niece is little, you could just kind of like put them in like a high chair and read at them.
I love it.
And because of that, they'll sort of pick it up and you get to introduce them all your favorite things. And that is really being and like an auntie is the most fun thing.
Are you Auntie Mara?
Yeah, I am, and I'm a very good auntie.
I bet you are.
Yeah. Also, pets. That's another thing. That's and baking. I love making things for other people.
It's just nice to be like, I put work into this because I thought it would make you feel better.
Also, just like being with your girlfriends. Like this is something that I'm gonna say again and again and again is just like get a group of girlfriends.
Friends are so important.
And it doesn't need to be cliquish. They don't all need to know each other, but like especially like other women who are going through the other kinds of things that you do. And that is really important.
One of my favorite things to do. Why I love tea for me is like I love getting people together and having a tea party, but I love getting friends together that don't know each other because my philosophy is always like I love you, please be friends.
Friend matchmaker. Friend matchmaker is fun to play too.
It's nice.
That's definitely like, real matchmaker is also fun to play, but you need to be careful.
You have to be very careful.
You have to be very careful.
Very careful.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm very careful. I love it. All right. We have a question from Nerdist, which is exciting.
Ooh,
you guys
nice.
Nerdist.com. I love Nerdist.
Yeah.
Okay. When will we find out if Matilda and Welcome to Night Vale exist in the same universe?
Oh, wow. Oh, I've never even thought of that.
Boom!
I feel like let's see. I feel like they can't in a way because I think Matilda is an anomaly, and in Night Vale she would be so boring. Or she wouldn't be boring. She would still stand out, I think.
Yeah.
But
they'd be like, "There's a girl with."
Everybody would just be like, "Oh, it's that girl."
It would be an episode.
It would just be like the same as So I feel
the
like
faceless old woman who lives in your home.
Yeah, kind of like that. That is, and she's so much fun.
Oh God, you do such a great job.
Thank you.
If you are not listening to Welcome to Night Vale, if you love science fiction, if you just want to stretch your brain a little bit, Welcome to Night Vale is spectacular.
Also, I have to say the people who work on it are the nicest people, and they're all so talented and so deserving. So they're great. I think Matilda, I think by necessity has to live in a world where she stands out and she feels strange for her to be able to develop that power and use that for good. What I think we all do, where we take, this discomfort and we either, and hopefully we don't turn it in ourselves and internalize it and make ourselves miserable. Hopefully we repurpose it in a way. We recycle this energy into other things, into positive things.
I like it.
So I don't think that they do, but they're both really great worlds.
Yeah. Do you think you and Matilda would have been friends? Like if you as a kid and Matilda as a kid would have been friends?
Yeah, I think we would have been.
I think you would have gotten along.
I think we were, I think she's probably a little more introverted than I am, but I also think that she would probably, like, she would probably give me a lot of good advice when I needed it, you know?
I think she's a wise kid.
Yeah, well, just like, and I feel like at some point she would have been like, you know, she wouldn't have told me to relax, but she would have been like, you know, well, there's nothing you can do about that now, so maybe just do this. Like, she would have been, it would have been like a sisterly thing. I think we would have, you know, like those people you meet where you're just like, oh, yeah, we get each other. I think it would have been like that. I would have learned when to leave her alone and just let her read, and she would have learned the same for me.
Hey, that's a friend. That's
Very
better when like you're staying over with a friend, or like if you are together for a long time and you're both just like, we need space.
Yeah, that's true. Quiet. That's also true with like when you're dating people. Yes, for sure.
Very true.
That's like,
like space is good.
What a real like no, it's a great thing. Like a kind of relationship that's good is when like you and that person are sitting in a room together and you're not talking to each other, you're just reading.
You're existing.
Yep.
God, reading is great.
Yeah, it
All
is.
Right. Now we have one more question from Geek and Sundry. They want to know if your favorite tea is 50 Shades of Earl Grey.
No.
We know how much you love 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh, yeah.
What's your favorite board game?
There's so many. Let's see. I really love the game Bang.
I've never played it.
Which is so much fun. It's a card game.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a card game that
sounds like a Western.
It is. It's a Western.
Really?
And it's all in Italian, so it's kind of like spaghetti Western. I mean, it's in English too. Resistance is also a really fun one. I'm trying to think what else. I have so many.
Did you ever play Monopoly as a kid?
I was never that into Monopoly.
I couldn't. I think it was ADD or something. I don't like buying property.
Yeah, I was very.
I'm more of a subletter, you guys. Let's be.
I was like, Ticket to Ride is one. Ticket to Ride is like Monopoly but fun.
Cool.
I like to say.
Fun Monopoly.
Fun Monopoly.
Trademark.
Yeah, that's one. I also like backgammon. I mean, that's technically a board
fun.
game. Yeah, backgammon is really fun, but I use the same strategy every time. So anybody who plays with me more than once, that's a really fun one.
I love it.
That's really fun one. Flux is a fun card game. That's a really fun card game. So the parody of Flux, we didn't play test this at all. Is also fun. There's. I've worked with children for a long time, so I can tell you a lot of really fun educational ones.
Like, let me educate you.
Yeah, Scrambled States of America is really fun. Yeah.
I like reading kids' books or like kids' education. I like how it goes down to the very basic level.
Yeah, it does.
It's more and you get more.
Oh yeah, every time before I give my nephew or niece a book that's about, science or electricity or something, I'm like, I didn't know that about Lincoln.
What?
Yeah,
I love it.
It's great.
I love it. Oh, learning everything is great. Okay, this is a question from one of our Instagram users at the Jez. What, I know, right? Not Jez, the Jez.
The Jez.
What do you do when you're stuck in an existential funk? It makes me think of Uptown Funk. Thank you for the
I take a breath. That I think is really important. I take a breath and I focus on the little things because the little things I think are, what matters. I think those are the kinds of things that I do. I also reach out. I try to help other people. That's something that helped me. I get my old winter coats and I donate them to charity. I do those kinds of things, just the little things. I think if you break it down little by little, and also I think it helps to like make something.
Yeah,
even
tangible.
Even if it's just breakfast, even if it's just a bowl of cereal.
Make yourself a bowl of Life cereal.
Just doing that things to remind yourself, because existentialism, the whole thing is that we're all out of control, and so I think that people like control, people like structure, to a degree they don't like it imposed on them.
Yes.
But so make your own structure, I think, and do that. And I think will help a lot.
I like going for walks without listening to music. Plug in, tune out.
Yeah.
And so for me, it helps to go for walks like in a park or somewhere I'm in nature and just breathe deeply.
Yeah, always breathe. Yeah, that's what I did.
Always
I was in Europe recently, and I didn't.
She's a fancy one.
I didn't put on my didn't put on my headphones at all, and because of that, I thought about so much, and I just got so much, and I got so into everywhere I was going, and you
really see things.
Yeah, you do, you do, and it's. I mean, I know that it's comforting, but sometimes you just need to do that. To remember where you are, and remember that your thoughts are just thoughts, and they will pass.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. Cool. All right. There's one I really liked. Okay. From Carolyn Parks at Carpar. I love it. Who are your role models?
Oh, I'm not sure.
I know.
That is something.
It's hard. I saw that question and I was like,
yeah. I feel like it's hard to have a role model because people will disappoint you sometimes in one way. And
that's a very adult way of everyone is human.
Yeah, everyone is human. You have to look at that. I think the people that I've always really liked and always really admired were popularizers, you know, like I really loved Carl Sagan. I've always loved Carl Sagan, you know, those kinds of people.
Yeah.
The people who reach out and move, you know, show others and teach others. Those are the kinds of people that I've always really admired, you know, or like Joseph Papp, who did, you know, Shakespeare in the Park, things like that. You know, people who you know, kind of gave a hand.
Yeah. It's a great question.
Was always charitable, and you know, and that was what I always liked about her, was she always gave so much of herself, and she always, you know, she was very, you know, she was very altruistic, and that I like. That is I think that is, you know, one of the highest virtues. I'm not an Ayn Randian, sorry. Nope. I think it's a good thing.
I love it. I still remember my senior year of high school. I was going Wellesley College, and so I automatically was like, I love Hillary Clinton, and I still stand by the fact that she was wonderful.
Was she Wellesley or was she?
She was Wellesley. She was Wellesley.
Oh, she was Wellesley.
Yeah,
oh, nice.
She's great. She's like our.
She's
wonderful. But I remember I still look up to her a lot. I feel like I look up to women, especially.
She's accomplished so much.
And this is the thing, and I look up to women who don't apologize, and they're just like, I work hard, I'm smart, and I'm not going to apologize for it. And that for me, like her, and like reading Yes Please, I'm like, oh, like it's just one of those things where you're just like, you work hard, you're making things happen. So anybody in science, in anything, like just anybody who's sticking with what they do, and loving it. I love it. Okay. Ooh, from Allie Johnson at Alley Cat. Hi, Allie. What is your favorite quote?
This is a good one. This I'm gonna have to think about.
Right?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about this one.
Let me see mine.
Yeah.
I'll give you time.
Yeah.
My favorite is from Eleanor Roosevelt, and it's, what would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail?
Yeah.
I have that on my wall.
Yeah.
My biggest fear is failure, and I'm like, no. Like, let me just do it.
Yeah, Eleanor Roosevelt was a great. Yeah, I like to say she was my favorite president.
It's true.
Yeah, when I was 7 or 8, I had a hamster I named after her.
Get out of here.
No, Eleanor. And
was it a very statuesque, morally sound hamster?
She was. Yeah, and later on, my friend had a hamster named Amelia.
I love it.
And
like
she
Amelia
found a picture.
Earhart?
Yeah, and she found a picture of the two of them, like just a drawing, I think, of the two of them together, and she was like, look at us.
I love it. She was the first lady, I think, to ever have a press conference.
Yeah.
To do a press conference.
She was super smart.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I think Carl Sagan. One of Carl Sagan's quote is that he said that the act of understanding is merging on an infinitesimal level with the wonders of the universe, or the wonders of the cosmos. He said that, so that's something I love, because learning and understanding is my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Let's see. I love the play Our Town because it's details, and I'm obsessed with details. There's a line there like, "Oh, Earth, you're too wonderful for anybody to ever realize you."
That's beautiful.
And it's true, you know. I think we really need to, you know, learn to appreciate the Earth and learn to be like, hey, look, I'm alive. Isn't that amazing? Just the human body. I geek out all the time. I'm just just the fact that everything balances just right. That's crazy. Incredible. That's incredible.
Crazy. It's so cool. Science is awesome.
Yeah, it is.
It's just it's so cool. It's so cool.
Nature is an amazing thing.
It is. Yeah. It is. I love it. Okay, we have a question from.
I think this is our last one.
Is our last question? Yeah. Okay, it's our last question. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna ask you a question.
Okay.
What is your advice for our smart girls at home?
Let's see. I would say it is okay to fail. It's okay to fail, and
Very
honestly,
true.
you're going to fail. I was always a perfectionist, and I think especially when you're told you're smart, sometimes it's hard to understand the fact that you will fail. You think, well, I'm smart, why can't I do this?
I shouldn't.
And then you kind of go from these extremes, like, well, then maybe I'm not smart and I'm terrible and I'm this and I'm that.
Everyone been lying to me.
Yeah, and then you doubt everything. My father told me a few years ago. He said, we always say, like in my profession, he's an engineer. He says, the perfect is the enemy of the good.
Very true.
Yeah, and
that's my new favorite quote.
Yeah, that really stuck with me, and that was something, you know, that he said. And you know, you're gonna make mistakes, but it's okay. And I really wish, I was thinking that, like, I really wish somebody had told me that when I was young, but I was like, they probably did, and I just didn't believe them.
I feel like it also, it's just, you have to learn to fail. Like, it's just, it's just no matter, you hear when you're growing up, you're like, failure happens, but you're like, not till you go through it.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that it's okay. And you're gonna be embarrassed. If people, like, honestly, if people don't ever get embarrassed, I don't trust them.
What do you do?
I don't trust people who aren't ever embarrassed.
No,
because
like,
that's creepy. Yeah,
you're too cool.
That's, you know, so there's that, you know, you're gonna realize these things.
Yeah.
And
I feel like that's good advice.
And keep at it.
Yeah. Also, I feel like failure is such, I don't know what you, like, when I think of failure, I normally think of it as just a step back where I learn how to step forward again.
Yeah,
like,
that's a great way. That's a great way of putting it.
It's just, you're like, this happened, okay, so I know that differently.
Another thing is, if you feel like you're judging other people, maybe ask yourself why you're doing it.
Oh, on point.
You know, that's something, and that's something I struggle with too. You know, I can be like, oh, well, I'm so much better than that person. I'm like, well, why do I need to tell myself that I'm better than that person?
Why am I pushing myself up off this other person?
Yeah, exactly. Or like criticizing people for their looks is something that gets me a lot. Like, if you do that says more about you than it does about the other person. We'll do these mistakes, we learn from them.
I love it.
So, yeah. So
amazing advice. Mark, thank you for being here. Smart Girls at Home, thank you for tuning in.
This has been an honor.
Thank you for coming to the NTC Tea Party, and it's been delightful to hang out with you. Cheers, my friend.
Cheers. Yay.
Good night, folks.
Good night.